And he saw that it was his signet, his robe, his staff, and he's like, dang, it's crazy. Hey guys, and welcome back to another True Thoughts Thursdays, where I'm taking you through all of my random thoughts on this here faith journey. So this week we are going to look at Genesis 38 and 39. In 38, we're taking a little detour and we're following Big Bro Judah. So in 38, to summarize, Judah's daughter-in-law Tamar is married to oldest son, who was The Lord found to be evil, moved him up on out of here. So now we get to the next brother, Onan, and the expectation is that he will now father a child with Tamar in his brother's place. So he's like, nah, I don't want to do that, because I know that child's not going to be my heir. Like, it's going to be counted as Er's heir. And so he intentionally makes sure that he doesn't get her pregnant. And so the Lord is like, nah, he evil too, though. Get him on up out of here. So now we're down to the youngest, and Shelah, not sure how to say that. But Judah is like, yo, like, two of my sons just died. Like, I don't know about this. So he tells her, he's like, you know what? Just go on back to your daddy house until baby boy grow up. Because he's like, I don't want him to die like that. So she's like, all right, bet. So she goes. So time passes, and she realizes that I don't think he's really gonna follow through on his word. So she ends up dressing herself as a prostitute, has her face covered with a veil, catches him, Judah, on the road. Some things are exchanged. She gets his signet, robe, and I think his staff. And he sleeps with her, knocks her up. She goes about her business. He goes back home. He says that he's going to send like a baby goat, something later. So he didn't know it was her, of course. So a few months later, fast forward, he gets word that she's pregnant. And basically they said she was out here hoeing. And he's like, burn her, kill her, because how you going to be out here doing all that? And so as they're going to get her, she's like, oh, all right, but this baby like belongs to whoever owns this stuff. And she sent that message to him and said, look real close at it. And he saw that it was his signet, his robe, his staff. And he's like, dang, it's crazy. She was more righteous than me. And because, he realized he messed up. Like, he didn't hold true to what he was supposed to do out of fear. And so, they ain't never mess around again. She ended up having twins. And yeah. So, first takeaway is keep your word. The reason why he didn't keep his word was because he was scared. He didn't want to lose the youngest son also, which as a parent, completely understandable. But also, if you know that that's the law, you know that that's what the Lord is expecting of you, then it's like, my guy, you're going to have to, follow through. But another thing that stood out to me in 38 was don't assume. So in fear, his first assumption was that his youngest son would die also. And it's like, had he really stopped to be like, okay, why did the older two die? Like, what was the issue? What was the reason? If he would have really taken that step back to look at that, he could have easily seen that, number one, they were out of pocket. And then number two, that if you make sure that that little one understands things, like just get him on board, let him know, then, chances are he's going to be all right. He ain't going to die. He going to do what he need to do and then go about his business. But he was scared. And again, as a parent, completely get that. But that fear led him to make that assumption. Another assumption that was made was that she was out here hoeing. And I'm like, okay, yeah, to be fair, like, you send somebody away and you're like, just go wait at your daddy's house. And the next thing you hear is that they pregnant. It's like, yeah, he's probably out here obviously doing some stuff. So the assumption of she's out here hoeing, which, not to say it like that, but that's literally what it was, that led to an immediate anger and condemnation, and is like, yo, kill her though. And it's like, my guy, you're gonna want the details before you keep on. So let's put a pin in that, and we're gonna jump over to chapter 39, and we pick it back up with Joseph. He's in Egypt. He's at Potiphar's house. And short version of Joseph at Potiphar's house, things were going great. He was a great servant. Potiphar loved this guy because he ain't had to worry about nothing but what he ate. Joseph really ran that house like tight, like he had it together, and there was nothing that he ever had to, like, Potiphar ever had to worry about. The issue comes in that, in the way the scripture puts it, is that so Joseph was well built and handsome. Herein is where the problems begin. So Potiphar's wife is like, he cute though, like, come sleep with me. And he's like, ma'am, absolutely not. He was like, my master trusts me. Like, he ain't got to worry about nothing with me. He is literally giving me every single thing. Nobody's higher than me in this house. And the only thing he hasn't given me is you, because you're his wife. So no. And sis just, like, day after day after day, she's like, but sleep with me though. But come on. But let's do this. And he's consistently like, absolutely not. So where he messes up, po baby, he's just trying to do his work, and he goes in the house, but there's no other servants there. So there's no witnesses to vouch for what really happens. So she rolls up on him, grabs hold of him, and is like, but sleep with me though. And he is so quick to get up out of there that he leaves his garment behind. And now she has her quote unquote proof that he tried to take advantage of her. So that's the story that she spins. So she calls in the other servants and is like, my husband done brought this Hebrew slave up in here to make fools of us. And look, I have his robe. Like, he tried to take advantage of me. And then she said, oh, and she was like, and I screamed. And so when he heard me scream, he ran. And then she sat there with his garment still, like sat there with it and waited for her husband to get back, and then told him the same story. So now, these are the takeaways here. Sometimes you can do everything right and it all still goes wrong. Joseph literally didn't do anything wrong here. He did everything he was supposed to do. He was honest. He was faithful to his master. He did the job he was supposed to do and did it exceedingly well. He, avoided, sleeping with this woman and breaking that trust between him and his master, and also, like, their marriage. And still, my guy ends up getting thrown in jail because she lied. So I do want to point out that the fact that he continuously did everything right, even though he was in a position where he could have done or had anything. He could have probably gotten away with it too, is the thing, because she was so desperate that she probably was going to let that thing slide and just try to see how long she could just, keep her little fling going. So he really could have had or done anything. And so I think it speaks very highly to his character, number one, that he still stood firm on what he knew was right. And then it also speaks very highly to how much he honored and respected God and understood that, yeah, if I do that, then I'm going against what the Lord would want me to do. And I'm not about to do that. And so something that ties both of these together, a couple things, is Potiphar was like Judah. He immediately went with what he was told, even though it should have sounded like it was out of character for that person. So in 38, when we're looking at Tamar, it's like there's nothing that's ever said or pointed out about her that would give the impression that she was about hoeing around. Like there was nothing that gives that impression that should have seemed like, oh, well, that's something she would do. Go get her. Like it should have seemed out of character. It should have caused him to have pause, be like, hold on. Like that don't sound like something she would do. What do you mean? However, he just went with the first thing he was told. Same with Potiphar. He went with the first thing he was told. Now, I understand that's your wife and you're just like, yo, my guy, what? But also, you have entrusted Joseph with everything and you've seen how he is. Did it not seem out of character to you that would happen? And I mean, it also doesn't really say nothing about her character outside of these exchanges, but even if she was perfect angel and everything else, it's like, but Joseph has never given you any cause to think he would do something like this. So we're not going to ask no questions. We're not going to follow up on nothing. We're just going to go with this. And so Potiphar and Judah shared that trait. Something that was shared between Tamar and Joseph is that they both were doing what they were supposed to do. And they got treated terribly for it. Like, she was just trying to carry on a lineage. Like, she was just trying to do what she's supposed to do as a wife. And was it her fault that the first two were just like evil? Because the Lord was like they were evil. So I'm like, that wasn't really on her. She's just here trying to do what she's supposed to do. And she was given a promise that was broken to her. Now, do I think she was a little wild for how she went about that? Yes, absolutely. However, sis was like, but I did what I was supposed to do. You know what? Fine, I'll take this into my own hands, which is wild, but also understandable. And with Joseph, it's like, he's literally just doing what he's supposed to do. He's doing his job and doing it exceedingly well. And then things just go left for both of them. So, the last thing that for me really ties 38 and 39 together, and makes them, in a sense, like parallel stories a little bit, is that no matter what you do, folks are going to talk about you anyway. Folks are going to lie on you anyway. So you may as well do what it is that you're supposed to be doing, because in either case, they're going to talk about you. So with Tamar, again, did she necessarily go about that correctly? I don't know that I would say that, but they was going to talk about her regardless. She was going to get treated dirty regardless. So she was like, welp, I'm about to do it like this. With Joseph, it was like he did everything right and still was accused falsely. And so it's like, well, if they're going to do this anyway, I may as well just do what it is that I know I'm supposed to be doing and get the things. Now, I will say I have, for a huge portion of my life, been very much like, all right, well, if you're going to accuse me anyway of doing the thing, then I may as well just go ahead and do it because you're just going to keep saying it. So let me show you what it looks like. Now, I know that that's crazy. That's wild. But I also stood like 10 toes down on that because I meant it. That is like, hey, you're going to keep calling me, a B? Then let me show you what that looks like when I am one. Like, let me demonstrate. Let me give examples. And yeah, that's probably raggedy. So I'm working on that. He knows I'm working on it. But even though I wasn't being that way, I was accused of it. So the correct thing to do is continue doing the things that I know I'm supposed to do. So again, the flesh is like, let me show you what it looks like just so we're all clear, because I can show you. But then you're really going to be mad because me doing all that is going to be a for real problem. Whereas right now I'm doing all the things that should be happening. So I digress. I really actually enjoyed reading these two chapters together because I knew of both stories, but I had never seen them as parallel. Like I had never really looked at them as related and having some similar themes. I had literally always looked at this little detour with Judah and Tamar. I'd always looked at that as like we just took a little detour. It's like commercial break or something. It was like, hey, pause the show. Let's talk about this over here real quick. Like I changed channels and then we're going to change channels back. And it's like, no, actually, they're both dealing with a lot of the same things. That they're dealing with keeping your word, maintaining integrity. Like, what about your character? Because when we're talking about keeping your word, maintaining integrity, Judah against his brother Joseph is like, y'all were doing completely opposite of each other. And so just seeing these parallels was really cool to me, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah. All right, that's all I got for y'all this week. Next week, I think I might only do 39, but we might do 39 and 40. We'll see what happens. We'll see how I'm feeling. Not 39, 40. And yeah, we might we'll do one or two. We'll see what happens. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.